Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to The Bald Perspective, TBP. And I want to welcome you guys to the very first episode, very first video under the new name. You guys will begin to see all of the new stuff roll out, the new profile pic logo, the new banner, and the new intro video, so on and so forth. All of those things will be new. And you will see also a new background coming, which will be our static background forever and forever. Why the name change? Well, bald, Balled, is a play on words, the bald head, and the context is we talk about ball, and that's all we talk about here. We never take it off the field. We never go political. We never go cultural. We just talk ball, right? And perspective, that's what we always bring. What is perspective? Perspective is one's personal, visual, or conceptual point of view. And that's what we bring. Why do we switch from the GM? Well, the GM is kind of that internal conversation that I made public. We all have it. We all have the GM in us. We all have those conversations with ourselves in private of what we want our favorite team to do. No matter what kind of ball it is, baseball, basketball, football, we all have the idea of what we want our teams to do, who we want our team to trade, who we want our team to draft, who we want to coach our team, which is what we're going to talk about today. We all have it. And so I thought that the name fit, and that's what we're rolling with. Like, love, or hate it, we're here. So let's get into it. Week 8 could be the sealing fate for John Harbaugh. Let's talk. I think week number 8 could be the fate that seals John Harbaugh's future in Baltimore. Yes, I'm talking about whether he goes at the end of the season. A week 8 loss doesn't mean he gets fired immediately. It doesn't mean he gets fired at week 10 or week 12 or even week 18. I think he walks away or gets let go based on how the Baltimore Ravens come out and perform in week 8. Why week 8 and not week 5? Why week 8 and not week 6 after a multi-game losing streak? Well, week 8 is significant. Why? Because it comes after a bye week where the Baltimore Ravens clearly had identified multiple problems with this team. Whether it was we had believed that this roster was one of the best and it turns out to be, looks like one of the worst. Whether it's been decision making from the head coach, whether it's been play calling from the OC, whether it's been scheme and schematics from the DC. Everything about the Baltimore Ravens has fallen down this season to the point where we are at the very bottom of all things football, except for maybe offense. And I think how the Baltimore Ravens come out and play after the bye week will say if John Harbaugh has completely lost the Baltimore Ravens. You see, when you go into a bye week and the offense had grinded to a halt, even to the point where you switch out your backup quarterback, Cooper Rush, for your backup to the backup, Tyler Huntley. Even to the point where the defense played its best game of the season and you still lose. Even when you get blown out in Kansas City, even when you get beat pretty good by Detroit, even after you get blown out by Houston, even when you give up a two-digit or double-digit lead in the fourth quarter to Buffalo, everything Baltimore Ravens this season has fallen down. We have not been this bad in a decade, literally a decade. 2015 has been the last time we've had a record this bad to start the first 6-7 games of a season. And what's the link? John Harbaugh. I'm not going to blame John Harbaugh for all that's wrong with the Ravens, but I do have to give him a great portion of what has gone wrong and what has gone on under his leadership, or maybe lack thereof. And I think that week 8 could seal it. You see, because there was no denying what was wrong with the Baltimore Ravens. Offensive line troubles, defensive line troubles. Defense as a whole had trouble. Play calling troubles. Everything was in trouble. And so if we come out, wait a minute, effort, energy was trouble. Discipline. We were still undisciplined this season, just like we were last season. All of those things were clear indicators that the Baltimore Ravens had trouble holistically from top down. And we could use the excuse of injuries and guys being out and guys going on IR and all those kind of things. But injuries and effort still hit different, right? You can have an injured team, but they still come out and play. We've seen numerous upon numerous occasions this season alone where guys are playing with backups and still winning. The San Francisco 49ers have played with a backup quarterback and still been winning. Even though Brock Purdy has been out for at least the last 2 weeks, as I think about. I remember the Dallas Cowboys a couple of weeks ago playing with 4 backups, starting to finish that game and winning that game. There's been numerous occasions where teams have won with backups. So injuries cannot be our excuse. Even to the fact where the Cincinnati Bengals just won a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers with Joe Flacco, who is what? The backup. And in fact, he's the backup to a backup. And so injuries cannot be our excuse. The fact of the matter is, coming out of a bye week, we'll tell the whole world whether John Harbaugh has regalvanized his team or if John Harbaugh has lost this team officially. You see, because you've had 2 weeks to game plan, 2 weeks to strategize, two weeks to implement, 2 weeks to take things out, 2 weeks to shuffle a rotation, 2 weeks to shuffle a lineup. And if we still come out flat, lethargic, uninspired, I think that is what says John Harbaugh must go. I'm watching a groundswell, right? If the Baltimore Ravens fan base was a ship and we had to measure how many people are getting on board for a change at the head coach position, at one point when I first started this journey, we were at 20% capacity. Last season, we grew to about 50% capacity. But I've seen more and more Baltimore Ravens fans, Baltimore Ravens content creators, Baltimore Ravens writers speculate, talk about, yell, scream, pound the table that we need a change at head coach. We are about 80% capacity. And I think those people who are in upper management, EDC, Steve Bisciotti, I think they're hearing us. I think they're absolutely hearing us. And so if we come out in week 8 and fall flat on our face, which is possible, if we come out in week 8 and fall flat on our face, and that's with or without Lamar Jackson, I think that will give a full message that John Harbaugh can no longer lead the Baltimore Ravens. Now, let me state again, I do not believe he gets fired. I believe at the end of this season, he walks away. And I think week 8 will be a telltale sign, a sealing of fate. What happens with John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens in the future? You guys let me know what you think. Welcome to The Bald Perspective. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. And stay tuned, man. We got more content coming for you guys. I'm out.